Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thanks for tuning into Actual English with Jennifer Clyde, which is me. I'm happy to be here as always. Now it's time for lesson 35 and we'll be focusing on the weekend. Now on the weekends is our topic for today. So let's talk about certain activities that you enjoy doing on the weekends. So think about it. Take a few minutes, a few seconds to think about what you usually do on the weekends, what you hope to do on the weekends, and what you hate to do on the weekends. Now, what are some of the things you do on a regular basis? What do you normally do on the weekends? Maybe if you have children, you may take your children out to the park, maybe just have fun with them, spend some family time with your family members. If not, if perhaps you are single, you're not married, what do? Do you hang out with friends? Do you enjoy any sports activities? What do you like to do? What would you like to do? Maybe would you like to go on a short vacation, like an overnight trip on the weekend, which could also be called a weekend trip. We'll talk about all of that today by beginning with Actual Talk.
So what did you get up to last weekend?
Last weekend, I was trying to catch up on sleep, but my friend called me out to a party, which I had to get prepared for. Like I said, I don't like putting much makeup on, but I looked like a totally different person. I was wearing a skirt for once.
So you put a lot of makeup on to go to the party?
I tried to look dignified. I tried to look like an ordinary party goer. Wasn't feeling the vibe. So what do you like to do on the weekends?
Well, I spend time with my family. Most of the time chasing boys around, trying to keep things in order. Occasionally we can, do a little play date, go see another family that has kids.
That's lovely. Do you each make a dish? You like cooking, right?
Yeah, I love
do you
to
each
cook.
make a dish and take it and share?
No, you kind of show up with something from Paris Baguette.
Oh my goodness, really? Do you like to make brunch?
Yeah, I love to make brunch. I love to
Right.
entertain if possible, but it's hard with the babies. You don't want to wake them up. So
my weekends, I don't like to work. I just like to sleep. No cooking for me. So I usually meet friends for brunch at around 11. That's usually on a weekday. I usually work that time. But on a weekend, I can do that. So I meet them at 11 o'clock, have a bit of brunch, laze around, read. Yeah.
how do you feel on Sunday night?
Oh, that's the worst feeling when someone tells me it's Sunday and tomorrow's a Monday. I think a gag program on TV, a comedy program, it finishes at around 10:30, and it reminds me that the next day is going to be another...
It kind of starts to sink in.
Exactly. So, I'm laughing all throughout the hour, and then towards the end of it, I have the worst feeling in the world.
Well, anyway, TGIF, right?
Yeah.
Let's go out and party this weekend.
All right.
Well, we had a chance to hear all about Peter's life. Well, he is a married man with children and a beautiful wife. So we know what a normal man or family's weekend is usually like. Whereas for Joanne, she's single. She does not have to take care of any children or a husband. So she tends to relax at home. She tries to get plenty of rest and sleep on the weekends, and occasionally even, tries to spend time with some friends and do some catching up. Okay, here we go with today's Actual Talk. Peter began by saying, so what did you get up to last weekend? So instead of asking, what do you do on the weekends, he very naturally began the conversation by asking Joanne about her past weekend, right? What did you get up to last weekend? Get up to meaning, what did you have time to do? Simply put, what did you do last weekend? Now, Joanne said, last weekend, I was trying to catch up on sleep. Now, if you say catch up on something, especially in this case, if it's sleep, you catch up on something meaning you're trying to do something that you haven't had the time to do. So, for Joanne, she's saying, I was trying to catch up on sleep, meaning I have not been getting enough sleep lately, so I was trying to get some sleep. But, right, my friend called me out to a party. And she says, I don't like putting much makeup on, but I tried to look dignified. Here's a word, dignified. I'm sure you've heard of that word several times or even seen it somewhere. Dignified, what she's trying to say is, I usually don't like to put on makeup, but I tried to look dignified, meaning I tried to look nice. I tried to look elegant, perhaps, or I tried to look decent at least, formal. So dignified has many definitions, but simply put, think of formal or even elegant, okay? So she tried to look good by putting on some makeup, although she does not like to put on or wear lots of makeup. She says, I tried to look like an ordinary partygoer. A partygoer, what is a partygoer? I think we even talked about a gym goer, an avid gym goer. That is, if you did tune in and watch our other lesson. But here, a partygoer is another word for partier, a person who goes to a party or a person who likes to go to parties. Okay, so she's saying, I tried to look nice by putting on makeup, and I tried to look like an ordinary, a normal partygoer. A partier, for example. And then she says, so what do you like to do on the weekends? Now, Peter says, well, I spend time with my family. As we all know, he is a family person. So Joanne says, you're such a family-oriented person. Now, as you can see, that part is underlined, so we'll take a look at that pattern later on and practice using that pattern. But here, a family-oriented person. The word oriented here, it means centered or focused. So if you are a family-oriented person, your life is usually, it's mainly focused on family, okay? A family-oriented person is a family person. So Peter says, occasionally we do a little play date. What is a play date? People often go on dates. Girlfriends and boyfriends go on dates, but here a play date is more like just getting out there as couples and with children even sometimes and just have a good time, relaxing and having a good time, chit-chatting here and there. He says, go to see another family that has kids or that has children. So he enjoys doing a little play date, play dates with other families with children. So the kids can play together and the adults, the moms and the dads, can sit back, watch their kids play, and perhaps have a good talk, a conversation. So Joanne says, do you like to make brunch on Sundays? You all know brunch, right? That's a combination of breakfast and lunch. The BR from breakfast, and then UNCH from lunch. So br from breakfast and unch from lunch. So it's combined and it becomes brunch. Usually we have brunch perhaps somewhere around 12 or 1, I guess. Okay, brunch. Do you like to make brunch on Sundays? And then Peter says, yeah, I love to make brunch. Of course, if you have been tuning in, you all know by now that Peter really enjoys cooking. He loves to cook food, right? So he says, I love to make brunch. Now, Joanne says, my weekends, I just like to sleep. I just like to sleep. So she's saying that she enjoys sleeping. She prefers to sleep on the weekends. She says, no cooking for me. What does that mean? No cooking for me? You can make use of this pattern almost every day. In many, many conversations. We'll practice that later on, but no cooking for me means I don't like to cook. I will not cook. I don't even think about cooking. So it includes all those together. So she says, well, for me, no cooking, or no cooking for me. I usually meet friends for brunch. So she meets friends for brunch. She doesn't make brunch, but she meets friends for brunch, to have brunch together. At around 11, I meet them at 11 o'clock. I have brunch and laze around and read. So these are a few of the activities that she enjoys on the weekends. Let's take a look together. Okay, so usually she meets her friends for brunch at around 11 o'clock. Now, she meets them when? At 11. She has brunch with them and then lazes around, and then she reads as well. Have brunch is easy. What does to laze around mean? Or laze away is another idiomatic expression. They mean the same thing. Now, L-A-Z-E, does that remind you of any other word? I can think of lazy, right? A lazy person. A lazy person is somebody that does not like to do anything. Perhaps is always late for things, late for appointments. Yeah, the opposite of diligent, I guess. So lazy, no, it's laze around, or to laze away means to spend time or just waste time doing nothing, or just getting comfortable and just laying there, sitting and relaxing, not doing anything special. So she likes to laze around, kind of relax, enjoy the weekend. And also, read. She loves to read. So these are a few things she does on the weekends. And then Peter says, how do you feel on Sunday night? How do you feel on Sunday night? Sunday nights aren't too bad for me, but I know a number of people who say they hate Sunday nights because, yeah, you have to go to work the next morning. Anyhow, let's see what Joanne says. She says, that's the worst feeling. It's the most terrible feeling when someone tells me it's Sunday and tomorrow is a Monday. Okay, so when somebody reminds her or tells her, oh, today's a Sunday, and by the way, tomorrow is a Monday, then she goes, oh, why did you have to say that? Why did you have to remind me that? It's Sunday and tomorrow is a Monday. And she says, oh, I hate that feeling. That's the worst feeling. She says, I think a comedy program, it finishes around 10 or 10:30. And it reminds me that the next day is going to be another. And of course, Peter kind of cut her off. But I think she was trying to say, and the next day is going to be another full week of work, a very difficult a difficult day. So she's just pointing out that she often forgets that it's a Sunday evening, but by the time the comedy program finishes, by the time it ends, she thinks, oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, tomorrow is a Monday. Today's a Sunday. Okay, moving on. Now, Peter says it kind of starts to sink in. So as we can see, the it right here starts to sink in. The it, of course, we're talking about the thought of having to go back to work the next day, which happens to be a Monday. So the thought of having to go back to work, or it, kind of starts to sink in. What does sink in mean, actually? Now, this is an idiom. Imagine a thought sinks into your mind. So if something sinks in, it means to enter your mind or to really penetrate your mind. So a thought occurs to you and it stays in your mind, okay? So it kind of starts to sink in. The thought that you have to go to work again tomorrow, well, that thought, yeah, it stays with you. But he says, well, anyway, TGIF, right? And then he says, let's go out and party this weekend. All right, so yeah, they finished the conversation on a happy note, saying, yeah, you know what, forget about having to go to work again. Forget about all those negative things. Let's focus on today. It's a Friday, so TGIF. We often say TGIF. You'll hear it most commonly. You'll even hear people saying, thank God it's Friday, or even thank goodness it's Friday. So TGIF actually stands for thank goodness it's Friday. It's what you would say when you're so happy that finally the work week is over and it's another great weekend. Anyhow, everyone, that's all for today's actual talk. Let's listen to it one more time.
So what did you get up to last weekend?
Last weekend, I was trying to catch up on sleep, but my friend called me out to a party, which I had to get prepared for. Like I said, I don't like putting much makeup on, but I look like a totally different person. I was wearing a skirt for once.
So you put a lot of makeup on to go to the party?
I try to look dignified. I try to look like an ordinary party goer. Wasn't feeling the vibe. So what do you like to do on the weekends?
Well, I spend time with my family.
Such a
Most of the time chasing boys around, trying to keep things in order. Occasionally we can, do a little play date, go see another family that has kids.
That's lovely. Do you each make a dish? You like cooking, right?
Yeah, I love
do you
to
each
cook.
make a dish and take it and share?
No, you kind of
No.
show up with something from Paris Baguette.
Oh my goodness, really? Do you like to make brunch?
Yeah, I
Sundays?
love to make brunch. I love to
Right.
entertain if possible, but it's hard with the babies. You don't want
Yeah.
to wake them up. So
My weekends, I don't like to work. I just like to sleep. No cooking for me. So I usually meet friends for brunch at around 11. That's usually on a weekday. I usually work that time. But on a weekend, I can do that. So I meet them at 11 o'clock, have a bit of brunch, laze around, read. Yeah.
how do you feel on Sunday night?
Oh, that's the worst feeling when someone tells me it's Sunday and tomorrow's a Monday. I think a gag program on TV, a comedy program, it finishes at around 10:30, and it reminds me that the next day is going to
It
be
kind of
another.
starts to sink in.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm laughing all throughout the hour, and then towards the end of it, I have the worst feeling in the world.
Well, anyway, TGIF, right?
Yeah.
Let's go out and party this weekend.
All right.
Now let's quickly go through some actual vocabulary first before we get into the expressions and patterns. First of all, we have dignified. Remember, Joanne was talking about how she tried to look dignified. She tried to look like an ordinary partygoer as well. Now, dignified basically means to have or express self-esteem. So it means to look nice, look decent in many cases. As I mentioned, some synonyms for dignified is composed, elegant, or even formal. Okay, so people can be look dignified in many situations. Now, partygoer, as I mentioned, is the same thing as a partier. Basically, partygoers are people that really enjoy celebrations. They love to celebrate and they love to go to parties. So you would call them a partier or partygoer. Catch up on. Now, Joanne says she usually tries to catch up on sleep on the weekends. Now, catch up on something means to do something that you haven't had the time to do. So, for example, if you didn't have time to sleep, so you have not been getting enough sleep, you can say, I'm going to catch up on sleep. Okay? Or if you have been meaning to read a book, but you did not have time to read books, so you say, you know what? Today, I'm going to catch up on reading. Okay. Now, moving on to laze around or to laze away. As I did mention, it just means to spend time being lazy. Okay, doing nothing in particular. And finally, sink in or sink into one's mind. It means to fall into. So a thought could sink in or sink into your mind and stay there for a very long time or hit you quite hard. Now it's time for our patterns. Let's take a look. A or an something-oriented person. We were talking about Peter. He is a family-oriented person, right? So what you can say is, she is a very detail-oriented person. What does this mean? It means that this person, that female, she is almost always very much focused on details. She thinks that detail is very, very important. So she pays attention to a lot of detail. Then you can say she is a detail-oriented person. What about this one? My brother is a goal-oriented person. So if you have a goal, and if goals are very, very important to you, if all you think about is accomplishing your goal, and it's always important to have a goal, you can say I am or somebody else, such as my brother is a goal task-oriented person. Moving on to our next pattern. Now, no cooking for me was what Joanne said, right? So let's practice using this pattern. So let's break it up. You can either say no verb form plus ing or no something as in a noun for me. I have an example for each of them. First of all, with the verb in the ing form, no sleeping for me this week. What could that mean? Say you have lots of work to do, or you have a lot of assignments to finish, or maybe you even have an exam, or you just have to do a lot of things and you don't think you can sleep. You don't have time for sleep. You can say, you know what? No sleeping for me. No sleeping for me. Okay? What about this one? No complainers for me. Now that's right, we've added a noun. No complainers for me, meaning you don't like complainers. You will not accept complainers. You don't want to deal with complainers. So if someone keeps on complaining and complaining and you don't like that kind of person, you can say, well, you know what? No complainers for me. It's quite simple. No verb ing or no noun for me is what you can say. Okay, we've got one more pattern. I usually meet friends for something on the weekend or on Saturdays, on Friday nights. Pay attention to the pattern in the beginning. I usually meet friends for something. I usually meet friends for dinner on the weekend is something you can say. Now keep in mind, for something. I usually meet friends for dinner on the weekends. And one more, here we go. I usually meet friends for coffee. For example, if you don't really enjoy drinking, you're not into drinking alcohol, but you like to get together with friends sometimes for coffee, to drink coffee, you can say, I usually meet friends for coffee. For lunch, for brunch, for a game of soccer, for example. So make use of that pattern. I usually meet friends for something. Okay, that is a wrap. That's all for today's actual expressions.
My weekend routine is slightly different to my weekday routine. I'm very tired during the weekdays, and so I'll try to sleep in to get as much extra sleep as possible. But once I wake up, similar to my weekday routine, I'll get up and do Pilates, and then I'll try and go out and meet some friends or, explore. But I'm always late for everything, so I'm usually rushing around, even if I'm just meeting friends. During the weekend, I try to get out of Seoul as much as I can. I'm not going to be here for very long, so I would like to explore Korea while I have the opportunity. But if I don't get out of Seoul, then I still like to do outdoors activities. I really like hiking and walking, and it will be winter soon, so before the weather changes, I'm trying to do as much as I can before I no longer have the opportunity.
Thank you, Emma, for your wonderful story. I think, so far as we have been listening to what Anna told us about her daily activities, her routine. Today she's told us about her weekends, but I think apart from going to work, teaching at school, of course, during the weekdays, her days are very similar in that she does Pilates in the morning, she tries to stay very active, she tries to cook herself some meals at home. So she's got lots going on the weekdays and on the weekends. Let's check out what she mentioned today. Now she said, I'm very tired during the weekdays, and so I'll try to sleep in. Here we go. Sleep in is what? Simply put in Korean, 늦잠 자다, right? Sleep until late is another way of saying it, but sleep until late is long, right? So try saying sleep in. Sleep in. It means to sleep until a late time, okay? It's not waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, but sleeping until whenever you wake up. Now, sleeping until late is sleep in. Another sentence she said was, similar to my weekday routine. I'll get up, wake up and do Pilates. There we go. And then I'll try and go out and meet some friends. So here we've got some verbs similar to my weekday routine. She's saying, well, I usually do the same things on the weekends as well. Now, I get up, I wake up, I do Pilates, and then I'll try and go out and meet some friends. This is what she usually does on the weekends. Now, during the weekend, I try to get out of Seoul as much as I can. So get out of a certain area or a certain location. It means to escape from Seoul. Perhaps go to surrounding cities or surrounding areas. She likes to get out, to enjoy nature perhaps. And one last one, if I don't get out of Seoul, then I still like to do outdoor activities. Outdoor activities. There are tons of things you can do outdoors, out in the open, breathing in the fresh air, especially at this time of the year, right? So what she does is she tries to get out of Seoul, okay? But if she can't, if she doesn't get out of Seoul, she at least still tries to do outdoor activities. So one more time I stress that Emma is a very active person. Okay, that is all for today's actual story.
My weekend routine is slightly different to my weekday routine. I'm very tired during the weekdays, and so I'll try to sleep in to get as much extra sleep as possible. But once I wake up, similar to my weekday routine, I'll get up and do Pilates, and then I'll try and go out and meet some friends or, explore. But I'm always late for everything, so I'm usually rushing around, even if I'm just meeting friends. During the weekend, I try to get out of Seoul as much as I can. I'm not going to be here for very long, so I would like to explore Korea while I have the opportunity. But if I don't get out of Seoul, then I still like to do outdoors activities. I really like hiking and walking, and it will be winter soon, so before the weather changes, I'm trying to do as much as I can before I no longer have the opportunity.
Well, today's topic was on the weekends once again, and I hope that you had a good time. The topic itself is very simple, but if you think about it, you can add details to any topic. For example, if you want to have a conversation with your friends or in a group, or even if you have to do an interview in English and you have to talk about what you do on the weekends. As I always stress, try to be imaginative. Create something, and draw an image in your mind, and that will definitely help you speak more naturally, and it'll be easier for you to come up with all different ideas related to the topic. So of course you can generally talk about what you do on the weekends, but if you want to add more details, perhaps you can even talk about what you used to do on the weekends as an elementary school student, as you grew up, when you were dating someone, and what about now? Even add some extra information about what you would like to do on the weekends in the future. Okay, that is a wrap for today's lesson. Hope you had a good time once again. I'll be returning with another quite simple topic. We'll focus on general hobbies next time. So until then, take care. And please visit us at our homepage at www.ebse.co.kr. And of course, don't forget to look for Actual English. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.